Plastik vardı. Güzel mi? Ama hasta oluşuyor yani. Gerçi kanından var. Hastanede kalmış.
Doktorlar evlisin. Yapacak bir şey. Bir tane. Diğer doktor evli. Evli olmak şerefine hali. O ayrıcalık bizim. O ayrıcalık bizim. Bence hiç güzel bir şey değil.
Nerede?
Tıp doktoru. Nerede?
Birbirini birleştirmeyi.
Millet alanları birleştirmelik bir şey yok ki. Haftanın sonu yani. Tamam işte.
Cuma gününden
Cumalardan sonra gidiyorlar. Pazartesi gelmeyecekler. Bunun misafiri oldu ki insanlar alanlara gitsin. Nasıl olsun? Bir tatil yapıyoruz. Alanlara gitmeye izin vermiyorlar. Alanlara gitmek
Emin olmak istedim. Emin olmak istedim.
Okay, everyone, it's a great pleasure for me to introduce Professor Çağatay from Koç University, specifically from the Department of Mechanical Engineering. A brief version of his rather extensive biography. Çağatay Başdoğan got his PhD degree from the Department of Mechanical Engineering at Southern Methodist University, SMU, in Dallas, Texas, in 1994. Afterwards, he spent 2 years at a spin-off company called Untitled located at the Northwestern Research Park, with a total number of employees that is equal to 3. But he did amazing work there for 2 years. Afterwards, he switched to the Research Laboratory of Electronics, RLE, a famous institute, as you know, at MIT, and was a PI there and a research scientist for 3 years until 1999. Afterwards, he spent some time at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, at Caltech for another 2 years as senior member of technical staff. In 2002, he came back to Turkey and started his position at Koç University. His main research interests are in the field of haptics, with applications to diverse fields such as medical applications, as well as virtual reality and even computer games, as far as I know. So this talk should be a lot of fun, and without further ado, let us welcome Professor Başdoğan.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank UNAM for inviting me to give this talk, and I'd like to thank you for hosting me here, and for others as well, coming to lunch, having a wonderful time, and also the others showing the labs and research. All right, so I'm going to talk about today something related to the haptics. Haptics is a Greek word, means sense of touch. So, as a laboratory, we're interested in human touch. By the way, I move around, you don't mind this, I assume, and that might be a problem in terms of recording me. But other than that, the sense of touch that we're interested in as a laboratory, we're interested in how humans touch and feel objects, textures, and things like that. We're also interested in how we can put this sense to the robots, and also we're interested in how humans and machines interact with each other through the channel of touch. Okay. So today I'm going to talk about something related to haptics. I told you, and I'm going to present this work. It's haptic stylus or haptic stylus. It's a stylus that you use on a daily basis. I have been using this stylus for a while, which I enjoyed. So we added haptics to that stylus. I'm going to talk about how we added haptics, sense of touch, to that stylus. And I'm going to show you some applications, some mobile applications related to this work. But let me introduce, before I move on, let me introduce my group. These are graduate students. We have a group of 13 people, including me. 10 PhDs, 2 master's students, and let me show you some of the work that we've been doing. Some of the work is not very active right now, but we've been working on soft tissue biomechanics, and particularly we are trying to understand the material properties of liver. We've been doing some experimental work, some computational work in that area. Primarily, we wanted to understand the material properties of internal organs so that we can integrate those material properties to the medical simulators. But we found that there is a wide open area in that domain in the sense that although in vitro tissue properties are well known, in vivo live tissue properties are not very well known. So we have built some devices and systems to measure in vivo tissue properties. So that's what our contributions are in the area. We've done some work in the area of AFM studies. I think this is how Mehmet made the connection. There is no active, this is not an active area in the sense that there is no student working in there. We disassembled the parts and using the parts in some of the projects right now, but we were, this is what I was talking about. This is happening all the time. I don't know what the problem is. That's how I want to start. Alright, sorry for the interest. So we did some study in the area of AFM, especially we were interested in implementing some control techniques to the AFM. Why AFM? So for a while we were interested in this nano manipulation with virtual reality interface and haptics. So we talked to the AFM companies, and as you already know, AFMs are turnkey systems. The manufacturer doesn't open the system to you, but we needed an access to the internal structure of the AFM so that we can change the controllers and things like that. And we couldn't, at that time, we couldn't find any AFM system that we can put our hands on it. But then we decided to build our own AFM system. So this is an AFM system that we built from scratch, basically. And then, rather than doing nano manipulation, while building the system, we observed that most of the AFM systems are utilizing a PID controller. There's some simple control, well-known controller, and then we said, why should we use a PID controller? We could use some different controllers to speed up the scanning process. And then, rather than doing nano manipulation, we start doing controls in the AFM. So that's how we get into the area. So now, more recent area, more focus right now is on human-robot interaction. That's another research area which is actively going on. In my lab, there are 3 to 4 students, PhD students in that area. In particular, in this area, we try to understand the human intention through the channel of force again. This is my PhD student who is the faculty member at the university. Other areas, as I said earlier, are medical simulation and robotic systems. And one particular area we are really excited, many students in this area right now, is what's called surface haptics. We can now control the friction on devices like iPad, iPhone, Samsung. So as you move your finger on the surface, we can provide a different frictional effects to your finger. And we do it in 2 different ways. One is by controlling the electrostatic forces between your fingertip, finger pad, and the surface. So there is capacitive screens, these touch screens, are designed to figure out where you are touching based on capacitance. But what we do is we play with the electronics of the system and we apply a voltage to the ITO layer of this capacitive screens. So ITO layer is the conductive layer. So your finger is conductive, right? And ITO layer is conductive, and there is an insulator in between those. And that creates a capacitance effect, and we can feel this minute electrostatic force. So what happens is there's some charges accumulate on the surface. There are charges on your finger, plus charges attracts minus charges, negative charges, right? So those are the electrostatic forces that you may remember from physics class, like Q here times Q2 divided by R square formulations. Right? So you see the application of that formulations in here. So these forces are very, very small, so you can't really feel them when you touch it, but if you move your finger on the surface, you can feel it. That's one way of creating haptic effects on the surface. The other way that we are utilizing is through the ultrasonic actuation. So we put piezo's on the sides of the screen, and we actuate the screen at ultrasonic frequency, like 27,000 27 kilohertz. So what happens is, like, if you actuate at ultrasonic frequency, the air bearing happens between my finger and the surface. So this is, I give this example all the time because you can understand what I mean. So if you go to the shopping malls, there is this air hockey, right? You put your coin and then air bearing occurs between the puck and the surface, and you can push the puck with some velocity, right? In fact, like if the time's up and then you try to push the same puck, there's like a large friction. So it's the same thing. So some air bearing, some air gap happens between my finger and the surface. So that air bearing reduces the friction. So electrostatic actuation increases the friction, this one reduces the friction. So using those two together, we can control the friction on the surface. So that's an application of it, like we created this haptic visualization technique by combining those two techniques, and we can, like, for example, make you feel like a knob on the touch screen, for example. Like you feel like as if that you're rotating a knob, so you get a resistive feeling and create a virtual notch on this screen. Alright, so let's focus back to what I'm going to talk about. So what I'm going to talk about again is something related to haptics, and I already told you that haptics is a sense of touch. Let me use this one. As you know, the devices that we're using, this mobile device that we're using today, enables you to see and hear something, but we can't feel anything through it. But that technology is coming. Apple and Samsung are actively working on that area. In fact, they hired one of my PhD students. So some products will be coming pretty soon in that area. So there are two types of haptics. When we say haptics, there are two types of haptics. One is called kinesthetic feedback, kinesthetic haptics. So this is like feeling net forces. So let's say you have a flat tire on the road and you have to push your car. So that's something related to the forces, right? Action and action. The other one is like more like a tactile feedback, is related to a finer touch. So if I try to understand the texture on the surface of this table, I use tactile touch, tactile sense. So it happens through the receptors in your under my skin. So there are millions of them, and the types are different. So some of them can feel temperature differences, some of them can feel edges, some of them are sensitive to the vibrations, and things like that. There are different types of receptors, and they function in a different way. So that's related to tactile haptics. And today's talk is related to this talk. So tactile haptics, not the kinesthetic part. So we have done some work in that area. Alright, so why stylus? Well, I think styluses are getting popular, especially if you had a chance to play with the Apple Pen. Now they have a very sharp tip, and you can control your drawings, writings, and significantly better than this passive styluses that we used to have. So it's getting popular, especially maybe not among engineers and scientists, but if you go to media art programs, they are actively using styluses for drawings, sketching, and those kind of things. So things are moving towards the digital domain, and if the things are moving to the digital domain, the artists, even the engineers, they need some kind of tools. So stylus could be one of them. You can think of like stylus as a pen, right? Like pen is writing on a paper and stylus is writing on a capacitive screen. And eventually it will come to that stage. Maybe the stylus doesn't feel like that right now, but in the future, if you can control the friction and things like that, then it will feel like writing with a pen on a digital display. So you can do a lot of things. I mean, you have probably pointing, drawing, writing, and things like that. Not everybody agrees with my opinion, especially Steve Jobs was completely against the idea of having a stylus. He didn't let Apple to produce a stylus. So he was very, very strongly against the idea of stylus, but you know, after he passed away, Apple came up with the stylus. It's one of the best-selling items, by the way. So I mean, yeah, so different opinions. All right. So I mean, I think I already put the motivation in there. So our idea is like basically this: can we develop an active stylus that conveys the tactile information to the user? And what kind of tactile information? I'll talk about that. But you can simply give like a buzzing effect, like when somebody selects something, you can vibrate the stylus. Those are all easily doable. So we didn't go to that path. We didn't follow that path. We follow a different path. I'll talk about that in more detail, but let me introduce the hardware a little bit right now. So the hardware is relatively simple to create the tactile effects. So you can see that we have two vibration motors, one in here, one in here. These are $1 vibration motors that you can order it easily from China. And we have, this is the first prototype, this is a DC motor in here in the middle. So this is one first prototype to create the haptic effects. And the idea was using this vibration motors, can we create a sense of flow along the stylus? So can we feel like something, as if something is moving along the stylus, up to down or down to up kind of thing? All right. How? I mean, it's not a complicated idea. So by playing with the timing of this motor, so duration of the vibration signal and the phase difference between those vibration motors, that we can create an effect of flow on that device. I'll show you where we can use this effect. Okay. So this is actually, you know, we didn't come up with this idea right away. There are illusions on that. One of the illusions is called rabbit hopping illusion. It's an old one, has been figured out in the 1960s. Like if somebody taps, if you close your eyes and if somebody taps your forearm 3 times, like this, not you, someone else. So depending on the sequence of those taps, depending on the timing of those taps, you get the feeling as if that rabbit is hopping on your forearm. But if you do like taps with a time difference like this, you wait for a while, and do this, you don't get that feeling. So it has to be adjusted carefully. Okay. So by being inspired by like illusion that we try to figure out whether we can create a similar effect in here by playing with the vibration times and the phase difference between those motors, whether we can create as if that something is moving down or up on your stylus. So it's a simple idea. Another one is this rotation effect. So we apply a pulse to this DC motor. We send a pulse to those that's DC motor, 3 pulses, and that creates a due to the inertial effects, that creates a skin stretch on your fingers. And that gives you a sense of rotation. It's not a real rotation, right? But through that stretch, you can figure out whether this is you have a clockwise or counterclockwise rotation. Again, it's a simple idea. Think about how you're holding this pen, and someone is rotating this pen a little bit in here. Since your skin stretches, you quickly figure out whether the rotation is clockwise or counterclockwise. Nothing more than that. So that was the first prototype. I'll show you the more recent one. So we have a digitizer tip in here for interaction with the iPad. We have a much better motor from Maxon, which we paid like almost like 1,000 liras. The other one was like 30 liras.
So this is not from China.
No, it's not from China. But I mean, Maxons, the reason people prefer Maxons, they have much better torques, much better control, things like that. And we have this vibration motor, one in here, you can see, the other one is in here. And there is this, you can see, in here, there's this part is the battery part. So the stylus is long. And I'm guessing that's one of the reasons why Apple stylus is also long, because battery is a problem. You can easily find small batteries that you can fit it into a tin cylinder. Okay, that's a problem. All right, so that's the updated version, and we have a Bluetooth module which can communicate with the computer. We have a small circuitry that we built, things like that. So it's a relatively simple design. This was a master thesis, by the way. So you can see the circuitry that we built. So it's not that hard. And we use the 3D printer. So what could be the implications of a system like this? This is one of the games that my son likes very much. And it's very popular among the kids. I learned that it's very popular among the kids. And the families like it because it teaches you the oral hygiene. So it's not one of those games that you have to kill or shoot somebody. And especially like if you play this game, so there are no sound effects in here. If you play this game with the sound effects, it's very good, amazingly good. I did it myself. I did it. So, like you can see, like you can use the stylus for different purposes, like getting a different feeling of cleaning the teeth, brushing the teeth, or like you can get the feeling of like water is squirted into the mouth or sucked from the mouth. So you get like, if you're holding the stylus like this towards the mouth, you get the feeling that water is sucked, for example. So it's, you can integrate like this rotation effect that you can integrate into drill, right? You get the feeling of as if that you're drilling something. Strange is another one, like flow effect, you can see corresponding. So I think you got that, yeah.
Is this a commercial game or?
Yeah, you can something that you can download it and integrate it. There are so many versions of it, by the way.
What's the name?
Or if you search for an oral hygiene, virtual dentist, things like that. So you get a lot of them. It became very popular among the kids. So that's another application. That's different work. This is in the area of visualization, climate visualization. There was another thesis related to this one. This work, climate visualization. I mean, it gets started into that. Like in here, it's very much like understanding cause and effect relations to understand, and you try to understand, you try to digest the climate information, and the idea is like this kind of stylus helps you to understand and digest the information. Because typically in climate visualization, you see a lot of charts, a lot of graphics, and visual channel is already overloaded. So if you put another chart, because there are different charts, like temperature charts, humidity charts, precipitation charts, and you have to integrate all that information to digest the data, which is not easy. And the idea is if you use the haptics, it may help you to digest the information. And you may wonder why, because if you get a visual information, it goes to the visual cortex. But if you get a haptic information, it goes to a different place. So rather than overloading one area, why not sending some of the information to the other area so that brain can combine that information, fuse that information, and the learning becomes more easy. Okay. So how did we create the flow? What's the science behind it, or what's the scientific study behind it? So it doesn't happen right away. You have to control two things: the duration of the signal, right? So I'm talking about how we created this flow. You have to control the duration of the vibrotakedown signal, and you have to control the phase difference between the vibration mode, the time interval between the signals. So this is like a discrete feeling. This creates a discrete feeling. So if the, for example, I'll give you an example in here. If the interstimulus interval, if the phase difference is large, right? This is like rabbit popping illusion. So if I tap it in here, wait for a while, and tap it in here, if the time difference is large, then you feel like there are two discrete signals. Makes sense? Now the other case, exactly opposite case, if these two signals are too close to each other, if this interval is too short, now you feel like a single stationary stimulus. So if I tap it in here, tap it right away, you feel like there's only one signal tap. Okay, and in between, you get this feeling of like something as it's moving, continuous.
Az önce bir şey söylediyseniz ne olduğunu duymadım.
Is that for me? Alright. So, alright. Otherwise, I told you like we have a DC motor, high-torque DC motor to create inertial effect, and we're providing a pulses, square pulses initially, and we provide like 3 pulses to create feeling of rotation effect. And these are the parameters that we play with. I don't want to go into details. Basically, we play with the duration and interstimulus interval to figure out where this effect happens, this flow effect happens. Same applies for the rotation effect. So we play with the on and off time of those pulses to see where the effect is strong, like where they feel the skin stretch effect on their finger. Right. I mean, let me show you the summarized graph. I like this very much. These are ISO lines for perception. We did like a psychophysical studies, perception studies, to figure out where the flow effect occurs. So if you combine the results into this colorful graph, you can clearly see 3 distinct regions. Right? So these distinct regions are showing those ones that I've shown you in terms of animation, like discrete effect, single stationary signal, and continuous flow effect. So if, for example, look at it in here, if the duration is short and the interstimulus interval is short, then the effect is as if that is a single stationary vibration. But if I increase the duration and play with the interstimulus interval, then I can create, like this region is, I can create the effect of this continuous flow. So using this graph, so you can have a clear understanding of what kind of parameters and what values you should choose for your parameters. And there are 2 parameters on right? Stimulus duration and interstimulus. So these are showing 3 distinct regions.
Does gender play a role?
We haven't looked at it. It might be, but in the haptic studies sometimes, yeah, gender may play. We try to select the subjects. We always try to select subjects from female groups and male groups to balance it, but we haven't tried. Again, you can create similar graphs, similar plots for the rotation effect. The red colored regions showing that where the effect is strong in this case. So we don't have distinct regions in this time, but by playing with the on and off times of the pulses that we display through the spiral, we can create this rotation effect pretty well. Combined graph. Another fact that we show, we have observed is with the rotation effect, the waveform has an effect as well. So initially we did the experiment with the square waveform like this, pulses. And then we start playing with the waveforms, and we found that this is the best waveform. So it's kind of like if you give the pulse, the field effect, and then the torque slowly gets reduced. Due to the action-reaction principle, you get a better sense of it. So you guys understand what I mean? Like in here, like you have a torque in here, suddenly a torque is coming to the motor, and then this part, sudden drop, creates an anti-torque kind of thing. And your finger may feel that. Right? But since you want to give a sense of one direction only, clockwise or counterclockwise, having a profile is better. So this part is kind of like a forgetting factor. In some studies, people use this term like a forgetting factor. As if that, I don't know if this is a good example, but like if you cook a lobster, like if you throw the lobster right away to the hot water, it starts screaming. But if you put the lobster to the warm water and bring it to the same temperature, you don't hear screaming. So it's kind of like that. Although it goes to the same temperature at the end, the effects are different. Right? So this is the same thing in here. Like you get a very high torque in here, and then slowly to prevent this anti-torque effect, right? Because of the inertial effect, like you give a stop to the motor, and that may create an anti-torque. So to prevent that, we give it this profile, and perception is much better. Do you guys understand that part? Alright, so this is again like the waveform effect, and you can see like the decreasing pattern is very strong. This decreasing pattern meaning like decreasing slope like this. You can see it's all red compared to the other ones. So this forgetting factor effect is pretty strong. The others are not bad, but this one is even better. Alright, so again, like we wanted to test these ideas on mobile applications and mobile games, and we have developed this game. It's called Spinning Tops. This is topaç in Turkish, tops. So this is like spinning topaç, spinning tops. So these guys are spinning, and what you have to do is like you go and touch them with your stylus, and you have to figure out their direction of rotation, spin direction. And then, once you figure out their direction rotation, then you have to go and put it into those boxes. Okay? Some of the boxes are open, some of the boxes are closed. How do you understand whether the box is open or not? So when you try to drop your top, spinning top into the box, if there is a flow towards the box, that means the box is open. The door of the box is open. If there is no such a flow, it's the opposite flow, that means the box is not open, so you can drop it. Alright. Now, let me show you the video again. So you can see the spinning tops. So the user is selecting one of the tops and trying to figure out which box to drop. So, selecting another one. You figure out it's a counterclockwise rotation, but which box is open. Show you one more time. Oops.
What's the success rate of people in this?
I'll show you. I'll talk about it. We have done some studies of the data. So in here, can you figure out the rotation of the boxes visually? Yes, right? Okay. Yeah. Like this. Depending on, so we have done some user study on that. We talk about that user study. So this, again, like, you see some patterns in here, right? Depending on how much I rotate those spinning tops, you may not figure out the direction of rotation. So if I like in every frame, let's say if I make a 90-degree rotation, since the patterns are repeating itself at 180 degrees, so you may not figure out the rotation direction. Okay. If I rotate it at 45 degrees in every frame, then since the repetition is at 180, then it may be easier for you to figure out the direction of spin. This is something similar to, like when you watch sometimes videos, like action movies, especially when the car is going very fast, you sometimes feel like the wheels are rotating in clockwise, sometimes you feel in counterclockwise. It's something related to the frame rate. Right? It's an illusion, always it's rotating in one way. But due to that frame rate, your brain interprets as if it's rotating clockwise or counterclockwise. So, like because of the patterns on the wheel, right? So it's the same idea here. So by playing with the degree of rotation per frame, you can get a feeling whether the things are rotating clockwise, counterclockwise, or they may have differentiated rotation direction. So we did a user study on this one, and we control the sensory modalities, the visual modalities, so they can, if visual feedback is provided, they can easily figure out the direction of rotation. If no visual feedback means they can't figure out the direction of rotation. Okay. And haptic is on and off means there are no haptic effects displayed through the stylus, and there are this flow and rotation effects that are displayed through the stylus. Alright. We did this experiment with 15 subjects, different sensory conditions, different rotations. So let's look at it, some of the results. So for example, this one, direction of rotation. Direction of the rotation. So there's no visual cue and no haptic cue. So your selection is totally like random, direction of rotation. Clockwise or counterclockwise. You can see the result is what? 45 plus minus 13, so it's almost 50. Right? So no visual effect, no haptic, no visual feedback, no haptic feedback. But now, if you put haptic effect, like haptic feedback, they can easily figure out the direction of rotation, although there is no visual feedback. So visually, they can figure out which way the tops are spinning, but by touching them and by the pulses that they feel through the stylus, they can figure out whether they are rotated in clockwise or counterclockwise. And you can see it's a significant increase from 45 to 50. Alright. That makes sense, this point? Alright. And now, in terms of availability of parts, yeah, here you go. So, like, if so here again, like, well, maybe the labeling is not correct, but in terms of choosing which boxes, there are 3 boxes in the scene. If there is no visual feedback or haptic feedback, they randomly choose the boxes. And since there are 3 boxes, 1 out of 3 is almost 33%. Right? And if I tell them, if I give them this flow effect, so that like if there is a flow towards the box, so I can drop the top. And if there is an opposite flow out of the box, then I cannot drop it. The box is closed. So then, if there is no haptic feedback, so you can see it's 33%, no visual feedback. Random choose. With addition of haptic feedback again, it's flow effect, flow illusion. They can choose much better. Their performance is better. So you may wonder, like, what happens if I provide, everything kind of thing. This labeling is not correct. If I provide like visual and haptic feedback, visual and haptic cues, so they can easily do it. They can combine visual information, haptic information, they can easily do it. So, and here's another thing that we have looked at. This, I'm sorry, the graphs are a little, I don't know why it turned out to be like this, but it's exquisite. I was kind of showing you something else. Oops, not this. Alright, maybe this one, okay. So this is what I was talking about. So this is in terms of flow, like random choose of the boxes, and then by addition of matrix is 65. And this one is something else. I'm sorry that I have this presented to you. This one is like if you mismatch the cues, this is the interesting part. So if you mismatch the cues, so visually, you show that the tops are spinning in clockwise direction, but haptically you're giving a cue of counterclockwise rotation. And what do you think is going to happen? So visually, the tops are rotating. Visually, you see something is rotating clockwise, right? But you're touching, and you feel like they are rotating in the counterclockwise. Exactly. So I mean, like, vision dominates our senses. So they don't rely on the haptic sense, but they rely on the visual sense. So this is what it means. Like preferred haptics, preferred visual. So a group is typically preferring the visual information over the haptic information. So vision dominates our senses. This again shows clearly that's the case. Oops.
How about the correct sort of answers?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
Like, if they prefer visual response, they made a mistake or they choose correct?
Well, I mean, you can't say anything wrong or correct in the sense that because like visually it's rotating in one way, haptically it's the other way. So you can only say that this amount of this percentage of group, this percentage of people have preferred the visual.
But
One of them was correct, like the intention was like, let's say clockwise. So they prefer the clockwise based on visual cues. Does that make sense? Alright, so to summarize, so we created the stylus with two different effects. One is the flow effect, as if something is flowing in or out of the stylus, and the other one is this rotation. But these are like, again, I want to emphasize, these are perceptual effects. I mean, it's not really something is flowing, it's not really something is rotating, but it's the perception that we have. And I want to conclude my talk with this message in here. And these are the people I collaborated in the project. Atakan was a graduate student, master student, and Professor Sezgin is my long-time collaborator for the computer science department. And these are the alumni of our lab. That's it. So it's a light material, no equations.
That's kind of explanation. So thank you very much. We have questions from the audience.
So you told that in like regular tactile sensing with the finger, so lateral forces are we are feeling lateral forces, right?
In
like
static displays, yes, lateral
static
frictional
displays.
forces, yes.
And in the stylus, you're feeling both the torque and force.
Sense of torque, you know,
Yes.
the inertial effect. Let's call it
You're
inertial
feeling
Yeah.
rotation and
due to skin stretch, due to scratch. You know, I mean, it's a very tiny stretch in your finger. Like, you know, you give a pulse, so it tries to rotate it, and it creates a skin stretch on your finger. Nothing more than that.
Yes.
It's not real torque in that.
And also we're feeling as if a force is flowing in the
Something
normal
is like something is moving, so it's again like a vibrotactile. It's not really force, it's like a tactile thing. Something as if like an insect is moving on your
you're
style.
feeling on the normal direction as well, right?
Yeah.
And so how can we also put in, like, if I'm pushing the stylus on this direction and I'm feeling the resistance?
Well, I mean, there are some groups, there are some groups try different kind of designs, like magnetic actuators, like a ball, which the rolling of the ball can be controlled using magnetic actuation, so that they can stop the ball whenever they wanted to create an effect of like a friction. But what I was talking, like, you can combine the stylus with the electrostatic forces, and then when you draw something on the screen, you get the feeling that as if that you're drawing something with the pen on a paper. Right now, if you have used the Apple pen, the feeling is the tip is very good, very sharp, but it's very smooth, so it's sliding. Some people like it, but I don't like it, to be honest with you. I want a little bit friction. So that's what I was talking about. You can create that feeling with electrostatic forces, but if you're asking me whether if someone has tried controlling lateral forces, yes, few groups have tried. Like one of them is use magnetic actuation.
just wondering, can we use a really friction, the real friction itself to, in order to give the friction? I mean, using something like rubber, which causes friction. Why don't we use it?
Well, I mean, there is a rubber tip actually. In Apple Pen, there is a rubber tip, but like in the case of like writing with the pen on a paper, yes, there is real friction because of the surface has some friction and things like that. But like if you make the tip larger and the friction increases, that's not a very comfortable feeling. Like the passive pens, remember, like the passive ones that you use it like rounded. So it wasn't very good. But now they made it sharper. And now it's better to control the movements. But now they lose most of the friction kind of thing. So making it sharper versus, you want to be able to control digitally. That's my message. If you control digitally, you will know how much voltage that you will be giving, so you can control the friction as if that it is writing on a paper.
And it also helps us to implement any kind of friction.
Yeah, any kind of friction, depending on what you're doing. Yes, yes, that's the idea.
More questions?
Yeah. Maybe an old question.
Yeah.
So you also talked a lot about perception.
Yeah.
And most of these are the sheets for perception. So how do you see the future of your research related to perception or also someone or something?
Yeah, good question. So out of that, 12 people now, 4 or 5 of them are working on the perception side. And we're not really a perception lab, and we get a lot of help from outside. Like we have collaborators.
Neuroscience Institute on campus.
Yeah, I mean, like, we have collaborators in US, we have collaborators in Turkey, we're getting up, and this perception studies, not this one, but there are like, really, there's a field called psychophysics, and there are established methods to understand human perception. So these are like, the ones that I show you is like more like a pseudoscience physics, it's more close to the HCI literature. But there's a really established science which people publish in Science, Nature, and kind of things. So there's an established science called psychophysics combines physics with the psychology. And there's established methods for understanding human perception. Like they use pretty mathematical based on signal theory and things like that. There are established methods, and we're learning more and more those because one of the problems that we encounter, okay, it's good to have the devices or like good to have something, but if you don't really measuring what the person is feeling, then you can't really talk about what you're creating has some effect on the real life, right? I mean, I'm creating some effects on here, but what kind of effects are you creating? Like, can you imitate the feeling of this texture, for example? How? Somehow you have to measure some information from here and transfer that information over there. And okay, I transferred the information, I got some information. We have 4 senses, accelerometers, we're recording something in here. But when you try to transfer over there are a lot of factors, right? So when you transfer it, does it really, the user really feels as if that they are touching the surface? Remember in your office we talk about it, like imitating the feeling of textures, and one of the things that we're missing is softness. But when you touch a texture like this, you're not really feeling the roughness of the surface, but you're also feeling, you're applying a pressure on the surface, and that softness feeling also changes your perception. So too many factors. We're learning more about psychophysics, learning how to design experiments and things like that. So amazingly, we're moving towards that direction to better understand.
Other questions?
Actually, I have one more question
Sure.
to what you said. So, like in newer phones, there is this feeling of how can I say? The phones can feel how hard you're pressing by measuring the contact area, right?
Yeah.
So I was wondering if there is a more maybe how can I say, scientific technique that we can implement to measure like or get a feeling of softness or hardness.
I mean, again, like there are, it's not easy to do that kind of studies because you have to produce materials, right? That's one of the things. And you have to, once you produce those materials, typically people are using silicon for that purpose, you have to control the softness. Controlling softness is not that easy. We play with the silicon, you have to mix the materials and you have to play with the timing, you have to add like oil to soften, a lot of factors. So again, like you can play with the softness, but then you have to measure it. So you need some devices to measure and characterize that. And silicon, for example, doesn't have a simple softness. It's non-linear, viscoelastic. You may think that you can use like spins and things like that, but that's not easy either. So what we're doing right now, we're using kinesthetic devices. We have this haptic interfaces for simulating robotic arms that we can program them in virtual environments. And we're trying to figure out human softness perception through those devices. And that's the path that people have been following. So you need some kind of, again, like a digital environment so that you can control the softness to understand human perception.
I think that might be the digital part might be the fundamental problem with the softness, because it's kind of analog, because it has levels, and the digital is much more difficult.
We can control it. There are like haptic interfaces that they have a high update rate, and then you can control the forces very well, and then you can use those devices to adjust the softness effect. So now we can program springs right away. With silicon, it's not really a spring, and you can use this physical springs. Again, you have to characterize them, things like that. So that's the path that they've been following.
So is this happening?
This one, yes. I mean, this idea actually, yeah, good point. We're trying to commercialize the system. We had some discussions recently. Actually, I talked about with Eda, and we have patent, and the school wants us to follow some commercial path for this one. We play phone tag with Samsung a little bit, commercialize it. They show little interest on this one, but they didn't pursue it. So, I mean, if you have some ideas how we can commercialize this one, I'd be happy to discuss it with you.
Your student at Apple might be able to.
Yeah, that could be. Although she worked with this electrostatic display, she didn't work on this style of thing. The student who did the style of thing, he left. So I don't know. We have to figure out how to commercialize. It's not easy. There are a lot of problems commercializing something.
Competitors as well?
No, not many. I mean, not the competitors, but like putting into a form factor, like putting in miniaturizing. You see, even the Apple Pen is pretty long compared to standard styluses. This is Apple Pen. Passive stylus of this size. You can see this is longer. And I'm thinking maybe the battery could be the reason. So, I mean, all those problems, like how to find a company that can build a battery for you, because we purchased the batteries from the market, and they were relatively large size, and we put them on top of each other. Okay? Electronics is not a problem. Putting it into a form factor and commercializing all those things, like packaging it, that's what I was talking about. That could be a problem in terms of packaging something in a nice way, sleek way. So those problems, if you can start talking about how we can commercialize. So if you have any ideas, or if you have any interest, come and approach me, please. We need help.
Investors are well.
Investors are welcome. Yes. Investors are welcome.
Unless we have other questions from the audience, let's finish this seminar by thanking our speaker again.
Thank you for being here. I mean, it's 4:30. You're still here. Thanks a lot.